Welcome back to another day of Kayla's Contemplations. Y'all miss me? I missed y'all. I came on here because it's time. It's time for me to get back started. It's time for me to do this again. And today's contemplation is ultimately going to be about the concept of transformation. But I think I'm going to take it into like a little bit of a different vibe than you usually talk about transformation. Because a lot of the times we hear, like a metaphor that we talk about a lot is the transformation of the caterpillar becoming the butterfly, right? And I feel like since my last video, which has been a while, I don't even know when the last time I posted was, I feel like I've been in the cocoon phase. And, in that cocoon phase, you don't know what's going on. You don't know left from right, up from down, you don't, it's all a big ball, a big mush, you're like the blob. Like, what was that blob called? It? I don't know. Probably not it. That might be Cousin It or Child Called It. I don't know. But I've been a big blob for a while. And I'm finally coming out of that. And, I've really been like contemplating on the process of going from being the caterpillar to ultimately becoming the butterfly, because everybody loves to talk about the butterfly. Oh, you've got your pretty wings, you're all decorated, you're beautiful, whatever. But something that I was thinking about is like we normally see like where the caterpillar is like crawling over the branch, to get into the cocoon, right? But I don't think we really talk about how grueling of a process that is. Like, think about it. That branch, it ain't just sitting on the ground somewhere. It's a branch of a tree. And, like, how grueling of a process that must be to, like, crawl, for a caterpillar to crawl up against gravity, that tree, to then get across the branch, which is much thinner, like you're walking on a tightrope almost. And I mean, for the caterpillar, it's probably actually still a pretty solid foundation, but nonetheless a lot smaller of a foundation than the tree is, like in at least in width wise, right? And then the caterpillar, if I'm not mistaken, and just for the sake of this metaphor, has to create the cocoon. Like, the cocoon ain't just there for the caterpillar to just hop on into, right? It literally has to create it. And maybe I'll like go research on like how the caterpillar creates the cocoon, and I might have another contemplation about that. Actually, I think I probably will do that. But like, we just don't talk about that part. Like, we don't talk about how it is to be the caterpillar. And, I think, and we can look at this, like, you have so many transformations. Like, I feel like I've lived no less than 36 lifetimes in this life, So I could, be 36 different caterpillars that turned into 35 different butterflies, now number 36, right? I'm butterfly number 36 now. And it just, we don't talk about how it is to become the caterpillar, and we don't talk about what it's like to live in the cocoon, to have to be silent, to have to be you have to transform into a big ball of nothing, into no identity, no ego, nothing. You don't get arms, you don't get legs, you don't get, like, the resources you have is your own fat storage or your own minerals that your body breaks down into. So I guess maybe the second part I'll research of this is what it's like to be the mush and contemplate on that later. But it's like, it's torturous to transform. It's torturous. So if you have been transforming lately, I commend you for your efforts, my dear, because it's not easy. It is not for the faint of heart to transform, your thought process, let alone your life, right? So, I commend each and every one of you who have ever had to transform, especially if you chose it on your own, because that's another thing. Like, I don't know if the caterpillar has a choice or not, like, does it have the choice, or does it just know that it's supposed to? Like, how do caterpillars know? I came on here to talk about like something basic, right? Caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly. But now I'm kind of getting, more involved in this transformation process and contemplation. And I'm like, how does the caterpillar know it's supposed to build its own cocoon and then go transform into the butterfly? Does it know it's going to become a butterfly, or does it just know it has to go into the cocoon? Because there's where we can talk about uncertainty, right? And how we don't necessarily know what life is going to be like after we transform. Like, we have to transform not knowing what life's going to look like on the other side. Am I even going to be a cute butterfly? Like, or am I going to be like a moth-looking thing? Because, like, I bet you, moths and moths and butterflies get mistaken all the time. I mean, I don't know, maybe not by us, but probably by some other animal kingdom, part of the animal kingdom. I don't know, I'm really taking this real deep, this metaphor. But I'm just happy to be back on here, and I'm happy to be thinking, and I'm happy to be transforming, and I'm happy to be out of my cocoon phase. And, also, I did learn this, I just remembered this. When coming out of that cocoon phase, like you become the butterfly within the cocoon, right? Like, the butterfly has to break out of the cocoon, right? So there's a part of the time where you are the new version of you. You just haven't broken out of the old sack you're in. the cage you put yourself in. And so, what I have learned over the years is that the butterfly does have to use its wings to break out of the cocoon, and no one can help the butterfly in that process, because that process is what makes the butterfly's wings strengthened enough to be able to actually break out of the cocoon, so it can be strong enough to fly. So if anyone offers that butterfly in the cocoon any help, then it actually, could pretty much cause the butterfly to die. And so I think that's why it's important that we don't depend on others to a certain degree, to kind of get out of our struggles, to get out of our strife, to, what's the word? We can't really depend on others to save us. If the butterfly depended on someone to help it out of its cocoon, it would never fly. Then its whole life would be effed up from that point on, right? So there's a lot that we can learn from transformation, just the transformation of the caterpillar to the butterfly. And I feel like I'm finally coming into that phase where I'm breaking out of the cocoon and my wings are starting to flutter just a little bit. And so I feel like I'm finally in a good spot. There's still some uncertainty. There's still some things I gotta figure out. There's still some things I gotta do. Like, you still gotta figure out, your surroundings, right? You still, as the butterfly, once you strengthen enough to break out of the cocoon and begin flying, it doesn't stop there. Like, transformation doesn't stop there. Then you have to maintain this new life you're living, right? So with the butterfly, you now have to get your bearings in the area that you're in, and you have to learn what is what, like what you can eat, what you can't, because what you could eat as the caterpillar, you cannot eat as the butterfly, and nor is that what you were eating while you were in the cocoon, right? You're basically eating yourself, like, talk about a death to self, right? But yeah, like, you got to figure out what's good for you, what's not good for you, what areas you can fly to. And, like, then the world is your oyster. You can fly anywhere. Like, as long as you don't fly in front of a car as it's speeding down the highway, like, you're going to be fine, right? As long as you don't fly into the mouth of a lion, that, like, the world is your oyster. You can fly anywhere. But as you fly anywhere, you have to eat along the way. You have to figure out how to live. And so you're no longer living life grounded as the caterpillar, and you're no longer eating yourself within the cocoon and dying to self and letting go of your old life and all of that. You're now switching and staying grounded as the caterpillar and surviving and moving slow and making sure that you're not getting walked all over, right? You then get to fly, and you can fly anywhere, and probably only so high, because I think there's still a certain capacity with butterflies. Butterflies eventually die and have to reincarnate as eagles or whatever, so that way they can fly higher. I don't know. Maybe I'm losing the plot here, but I think y'all get what I'm saying. Of, like, even though you may not have all your bearings, you may not know what's what, you may not know what's good for you, what's bad for you, what's here, there, and everywhere, that's okay. And it's okay to still be in that uncertainty. It's okay to still be in the cocoon and to be silent and to be a big ball of nothing. Like, nothing and everything all at once, right? It's okay to be sitting right where you're at and trying to figure it out. And, like, really though, is the caterpillar in the cocoon really trying to figure it out? Is the butterfly in the cocoon really trying to figure it out? I kind of don't think so. So maybe it's like we don't have to figure it out, and we let life hand us what it hands us. And we deal with what gets put in front of our face or what gets offered to us, and deciding whether it's a good offer or a bad offer. Is it a good decision or a bad decision? And sometimes we're going to go for the bad decisions, right? I know I have before. But you live and you learn. And that's how you develop survival skills, right? So yeah, it's okay to be in whatever form of transformation that you're in. And whatever form of transformation you're in, I commend you for your efforts. It's not easy. It's not easy. And let me validate that, like, so super clearly. It's not easy. It's not easy to live life. It's not easy to take ideas that you've learned your whole life and realize that they might be wrong. And even if they weren't wrong for that season, they might be wrong for the new season. You might see your old caterpillar friends who haven't transformed into their butterfly selves yet, and you want to go talk to them and be like, but y'all may not got nothing to talk about because you're living in two different walks of life. And you know what they're going through, but they've got no clue what you're going through. And so you can't talk to them about this new life that you have. And honestly, they might get mad at you for talking to them about it because they feel some type of way because they ain't climbed up that tree to go get in that cocoon yet, have they? They ain't died to self. They ain't decided that they want more out of life. They haven't decided that they want to get off the ground and, just inch their way along. So, as the new butterfly, you can't go talk to the caterpillars. Caterpillars don't know what you're going through yet. And I mean, they might have an idea. There might be a caterpillar school that talks to you about what it is to transform. Like, they may have the science down, They may have figured it out. Like, this is in caterpillar school, this is what's going to happen. But then when you're in the experience, it's a whole lot different. I hope y'all understood this metaphor of the caterpillar, the cocoon, and the butterfly. And I wish more people would talk about how much of an effort it is to, as a caterpillar, choose to transform into the cocoon. It's not even transforming into the butterfly, because you don't even know what life as the butterfly is like on the other side. You don't know, you don't got no idea what to expect. The most you can see is to the cocoon and how to make it. How to, and in that cocoon, like, getting to that cocoon is all about letting everything that you know and everything that you hold dear and close to you, that's all got to go. It's all in a past life. That is all no longer you. Get thee behind me, Satan, at this point, because it's not the same. It won't be the same. And you have to choose a whole different life. So if you have chosen to have a new life, I really, really commend you on your efforts. Choosing. This ain't for the faint of heart, And sometimes you're forced into transformation. So then you can say, hey, I didn't choose this butterfly life. This butterfly life chose me, Because sometimes you're forced into it. Now, I don't know how caterpillars get forced into the transformation. I got no clue how that would happen. But I do know, but you do have to go through with the process. You could choose, you could be forced into the cocoon, come out as the butterfly, but then become dependent on somebody and never gain the strength to be able to flap your wings. And, I think that's that crux point where that's where you choose real, like, surviving or thriving. That's where you choose death to the old or death to yourself. Because if you don't let go of the old, and if you don't choose death to the old, you choose death to yourself and what you could be, and the flippy flappy fluttering life you could have as this new and extravagant butterfly, So yeah, I hope that's helped today. And hey, happy contemplating. Love you, mean it. I hope you really liked it. I did. I had fun doing this. So if you want me to do more, let me know. Also, follow me on YouTube. It's called Our Life, OURLYF. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Love y'all, mean it.